Dextor plays Kenshi in the Age of Blood and Sand, a 300 mod collection from Krav.
Welcome back to Kenshi. We are sitting here in Mongrel. I have found Mongrel to be, I think, the best place to base in a town. You can obviously make bases better in better places, but as a town, the resources here are very, very adequate. Very good. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mining locations here. I've got Red in there. And then Red is my transport, so he will occasionally come in, grab stuff. Like this. And he picked up a compression backpack, which allows him to carry more stuff than typical. What time is it? It's 8? Yeah, we still got some time. So we'll come in here. And this is my routine. I've been doing this for maybe 8 to 10 hours of real gameplay time. Just grinding as I stay here. I'm doing upgrades. I'm doing research. And getting everybody set up for the next excursion out. I think we're going to take it up a notch here. Let's go ahead and speed this up so Red can get in here. Red has definitely increased his strength. He's up at 62 now because of all of the stuff he's carrying around. And it's still going up a little bit further. Let's get in here, talk to this guy. I think I'm done here selling. I've been selling a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm out of the ability to sell, but I will sell all of my cash here. And then I come through and I take a look to see what kind of recipes he has, to see if there's anything I don't know yet. If there is, I might buy it if I can afford it. I think I do. This is also where I bought the compression backpack, and I'm going to need to finish off a few more people with adventurer backpacks here. After that, I come over here and go into, this is the mechanics shop. I hope I can make it in time before everything starts closing. And he's the second place I stop for selling off. So I've been selling to him next. He's running a bit shy. And then I will come down here, and I got the leg for Beep here. We'll take a look at Beep's leg. And then I'll take to see if there's anything here. He might sometimes have complete ancient books, research books. Sometimes he has damaged ancient research books. Sometimes I can find a damaged engineering diagram. That's not often. And when I do, I buy it. You need 5 of them to make an engineering document. I've got 3 now, but and then if he has like complete engineering, complete regular research books, I might buy those. And I think he also sells the wheeled version of the arms and things. Then I come over here to this trader. Come in, talk to him. There we go. And I'll see what he has. In the beginning, I was buying the half-eaten books, but I have so many books now that I don't need to do that anymore. But I will also buy full books here or damaged ancient research books. I've bought the metal bars, armor plates, and metal plates here, which is why he has none of those. Buy them out. Next, I will come up to here. This is my pass. Sorry, Bridget, didn't mean to bring you. This is my pass for purchasing resources. So I'll come in here, talk to him, and I will do the same thing. I'll look in here to see if he's got any steel bars, metal plates, armor plates, full research books, half-eaten ancient research books. And again, I might take a look through here to see what he's got for blueprints, to see if he's got anything that I need to buy. At that point, I will transfer everything over here. And let's take a look in here, my research desk. You see I got quite a bit of stuff. I have a half-eaten book. I need 1 more half-eaten book to get my next tech up. With that transition to the tech, let's talk about tech. So I have got to level 5 tech. I can't get 6 without going back out for AI cores. I have been purchasing various things throughout here. Anything that takes just straight research books, I've researched. So I have nothing left where I can just do regular research except for some flowers. If I get some flowers here, and the farmer's notebooks, I'll do that. I have been buying farmer notebooks as well. And then purchasing out some things like some industry as it comes available for things that doesn't require ancient books. I've been focusing in on smithing. I bought heavy armor. So I bought the heavy armor crafting station. I'm going to save my future engineering research that might come out with the pieces that I get. You can see I've got 3 of them right there. When I get 5, I'll make another engineering research document, and I'm going to unlock crossbow crafting. Also, with the collection of ancient research, I am working on a next weapon grade 4. That's going to take 4 of these, and then after that will be 5, which will be 5 books of those. I can also come in here and start doing leather crafting too, but I'm not thinking I'm going to do that yet. Tactical night backpack, eh? Maybe I will. It is possible. So that's what I've been doing with the research. With that, also, I haven't found where I'm going to be using my AI core construction card or my AI core, but I'm sure that'll come up at some point in time. I got someone in here beating up metal plates into armor plating because we've got Jewel up here on the heavy armor station, and we're doing work on armor and upgrades. So let's talk about armor and upgrades. You have all the current upgrades except for one thing, the pants. So what have I done? I will show you how I got here, but let's take a look at what the stuff. I've already done the thigh-high boots. We found that was a pretty good boot, and it's still in my approach on how I want to deal with this stuff. It's the best boot. It's not the best boot regardless, but it's the best boot for what I want to do. I want it to have the best coverage. These have 90%, and in boots you can't get anything higher than 90% that I have found yet. So 90% is where I'm going, and the percentage matters. So think of it this way. When you get hit, let's say I get hit in the leg, it's going to check through armor, pants, and then boots, in that order. But we'll just focus on boots for the moment. This means that 90% of the time I will block 26% of the blunt and 25% of the cut. Damage is done to cut first. So when you come in with cut damage, it'll look at this. It'll say, all right, for 100 points, 75 points go through this place. Then it goes to the next place, like, for example, armor, pants, then boots. That 100 points will go into armor first, get knocked down. Go into pants, get knocked down. Go into boots, get knocked down. And if you got a lot of coverage with some decent percentages, a lot of the cut is going to get mitigated away. Some of the cut gets converted into blunt and added to whatever blunt is done. So then that blunt goes through the blunt resistance. It's fairly complicated in how it goes through, but cut is what takes off your leg, not blunt. So with that in mind, I don't want to worry about the 1 in 10 times I take full damage. Okay, so I want to make sure I have 100%. Other characters, other not NPCs or whatever, variable numbers like that is fine, but when you're playing your own character, you really want to be very consistent. You want to know that the damage is going to get mitigated. Otherwise, that one, if you will want to call it unlucky, but that one inevitable hit, statistically speaking, that does full damage is going to really wreck you, especially if it's doing 200 points of damage when it hits you and you've got 150 points on the part. One hit takes out the part on that one rare statistical time. So the best boot I have here, the pants, I'm going to be upgrading to a different kind of pant, but we'll look at this right now. You can see this has leg and stomach coverage. The best you can get in pants is leg and stomach, or just leg. I want to make sure that there's 100% leg, and if it has stomach, that's great. And then making sure I've got some decent percentages in the resistance. One of the things I do want to avoid is a reduction in some of my other skills. And we're going to talk about that reduction here soon. I've swapped out the leather shirt for the leather turtleneck. So if I jump out of here, we go into my case here, you'll see that the turtleneck is 2117. Mine is going to be 2117. This is the same thing. The leather turtleneck and the leather shirt are the same for resistances. But when you look at coverage, this covers my arm at 30%, where this covers my arm at 90%. That's a significant reduction in arm damage. And as we remember, we tend to take a lot of hits and start losing arms and legs. Here's why. It's because I don't have that much arm coverage in the shirt where I can get it with the turtleneck. So I've gone to the turtleneck for everybody that can wear it, except for the hivers who have to wear high vests. But that's where we're at with that. I've swapped a heavy coat from the mediocre dust. If you look at the coverage, it's 25% head. This is the best coverage of the armors that I've seen so far, where it has head, chest, stomach, arms, and legs. The arms, if you look at this, are at 100%. So I absolutely will block 20%, 26% of the blunt, 25% of the cut with the dust coat. It also gives me some dodge, some other nice effects, including acid and burning resistance. So what I've done, though, is I've gone to this, which gives me a little bit more blunt and cut resistance. I am trying to up my armor as much as I can so that when I'm getting hit, it's more of a nickel and dime than it is a, oops, I got hit. And that's so that I can start working up my toughness. And I really need to get my toughness up. And the way to do that is to get hit. And if I'm getting hit a lot, I need to make sure I'm mitigating as much as possible. I do have a hit now on my crossbow and dodge and assassination skills. Crossbow and assassination really isn't being used except for green, in which case I might actually switch green out of being ranged, make him a melee character for a while before I go back to range. And then my fist protection for martial arts, if I want to use it ever, there's something. But it doesn't negatively affect my athletics, so my movement's not going to get hit. It doesn't take out my my combat speed. So from a point of view of fighting, very effective heavy coat. Now the head is colossal. Look at this number here. I was using these over here. This Ninja Zucchini. It's actually a decent light armor. It gives stealth effect, but it also gives a perception bonus. Gives you immunity to dust and gas, which is good. That's 36, 34, 33. Harpoon. This is 80% blunt resistance. It's 81% cut. If I get hit in the head, 80 for 100 points, 80 of it goes away. That's huge. That's massive. And then my harpoon resistance of 94, only the high-end missile weapons are even to get through that. So if I get hit in the head, I get a lot of resistance for that. It's 100% coverage, so I'm always guaranteed to get that reduction. And keep in mind, even if it gets through with 100 points, there's 20 points left. There's a 25% chance that this is going to take 34% off that 20. So then I'm losing another 6, so I'm down to 14 points coming through out of a 100-point hit. Very significant reduction. And I still have near immunity in dust and gas. And the cost I pay for that, again, another hit on my crossbows, some of the dodge, some of the dex, and really the melee is 2 points, which is, and the perception bonus is a -8, which is really meant for range. So since I'm not really doing range, it's not going to impact me that much. So an awesome helmet. So how did I get to that? Well, I went to the numbers. And I went crazy. So let's take a look at all my stuff here. This is as I have bought stuff, I have entered it in here, and here are all the items that I can build now, as far as armor goes. And so when I look for something like a headpiece, one of the first things I want to do is I want 100% head. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to select out head only. So there's all the ones that have 100% head coverage. And you can actually see there's a high plate soldier. Look at that, 100% head, chest, stomach, 90% on the legs. So the hivers are likely to be given some different kinds of armor. It's just, I don't like the numbers over here, but there you go. Then on top of that, you could do a sort by, for example, largest to smallest on blunt. And now you can see that the orange, the Grosuku, the one I'm using, just popped right to the top. I don't stop there. I do look across to see what's the impact it's going to have. And you can see over here the numbers that are going to be impacted. The next thing down, this orb, for example, is pretty good. There is some cut efficiency here. This is an old mechanic that's being replaced as items are being updated. But all that means is that when the cut does come through, how effective is it at blocking it? These two numbers really just need to be merged. And that's what they've been doing. But that means I would block 48% of the cut, but only 90 of that gets actually blocked. 10% goes through as blunt. So we talked a little bit about how blunt comes through. That's actually how the blunt ends up coming through. I think they've actually changed it now and just said cut gets blocked. I'm not positive, but I think that's it. And you can see actually the harpoon on this is better, 68. Immunity all the way across the board. This is, if you look over here, this is the orb mask. Basically, you're putting on a spacesuit helmet. And then there's crossbow dodge, which I can live with, but Dex, yeah, but the attack damage and the is starting to take off 7% of my damage. And then there's a reduction in my ability to attack and defend that's pretty significant. And I thought, nah. Yeah, I could probably on a master, especially with this would probably go up to somewhere like 100. I'd be immune to missile hits, harpoon hits in the head. But I'm not going to go there. Not at this point. Not until I actually have numbers in my skills that are god awful. Then maybe I can consider that. But I don't want to do that right now. But so that's what I do for like head. And I can actually just sort out head only. So that I don't have to worry about seeing the armors in there either. And I've done that sort of thing for each one of these. Let's go ahead and select all here. Let's go back here. And we'll take a look at the pants, which I haven't replaced on my guys yet, so you can see that. So then what I do, like, for example, I go into pants. Again, I know that I want some of the highest application. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just deselect all. I'll go down here and do like 100. And maybe I'll look at 90% too, but I really want the 100s. And then I'll sort again on blunt resistance from largest to smallest. And here I get to see the different kinds of things that come up. And the one I've picked is actually 4 down, the Impaler armor. But the best armor based on resistance is the Azuchi Red Heavy Pants at 32 and 39. And I'm sure that once I get like a masterwork in that, it'd be up in like the 64% range. Very significant. The problem here is not just the stealth. I mean, I'd give up stealth if I put this stuff on. I really don't like the impact to my athletics and my combat speed. That's a little bit too severe for me to deal with. There is, I think, another. Yeah, no, that's it. So I don't want to take that hit. So I looked at stuff that has no or small or no impact. So here's the closest thing with no impact. The Drifter's leather pants, but it's at 90%. And I'd prefer to avoid the 90%, especially since it doesn't give me additional stomach protection. If it gave me stomach protection, I might consider it. But this is why. Ooh, that's not what that should be. This is this. I forget what the one this is. Did I get that blocked out somewhere? No. All right. Now I got to go figure out what that is, because typing stuff as you go along, sometimes it updates in your Excel when you don't know you've got yourself highlighted on a cell. But anyway, I use the Samurai pants currently, Samurai cloth pants here, which give me some 100% coverage. It also gives me stomach protection, doesn't knock anything else out. And I can get this up to 20% or so with my Masterworks. There are some others that are better up here further for blunt, but you can see that the cuts really start to take a hit. I think like I said, this is probably the next one. So that's why I went up here. Is it gives me a little bit of acid protection. It's not that severe on athletics. It doesn't affect my combat speed. It even gives me a bonus to my attack damage. So I'm going to start swapping everybody over to the Impaler Armored Pants. And if we took a look at the armor as well, let's do select all. Select all. Now we're going to take, so I can do this for each part that I have, that I've used. We took a look at the heads, we took a look at the pants. If I go to armor, for example, and I do a sort by blunt, largest to smallest, here's some of the best and some of the worst armors. This is get up to about, I think, 60%. Very significant. But again, I haven't decided to use that. I'm all the way down here on heavy coat. Look how far down this list I've gone. I think there's something to be said for the heavier armors at the moment. But again, when it comes to an impact against my athletics or combat speed, I'm not happy about it. And in addition to that, I want to make sure that whatever I'm picking absolutely does have 100% coverage for the chest. Ideally 100% for the stomach as well. So once I start doing that, you can see my numbers start coming down. And now I can look across and say, so what else does it have? Well, I wanted to make sure I have leg armor because, for example, I have the one robot guy, the one skeleton, who can't wear pants or can't wear boots. And so I want to make sure, or he can't wear a helm either. I wanted to give him something that actually gave him coverage there. So I've got 60% coverage there with 25% there. It's pretty good stuff for him. And I like that. So that was one of the things that really sold me on this, was the 100% across both the chest, the stomach, and the arms, and the 60% on the legs. And nothing else above this really has that kind of coverage. You can get some leg coverage here on the Impaler's armored chest, armored cuirass. I think that's the armored cuirass right now. It's unholy plate. You can get it on the unholy plate, but the unholy plate probably won't fit. And on top of that, it's 25% on the arms, which I really didn't want. I wanted much better coverage than that. So, and you take a look, health, the hit over here is pretty significant on crossbow dodge, stealth, even on your combat speed. So that's why I went here. All right. So with that, we've talked about those upgrades. I've also done upgrades across the board with who's going? Here it's one with weapons. I went from the katana to the nodachi. Some people still have katanas as their secondary weapon, but for those who had katana class as their primary, I upgraded to the nodachi because it had the best damage. Again, if we take a look at the spreadsheet that I put together, you'll see that I also have weapons, and of course I've done the same thing. Here's katana list. The arch katana is actually the best damage, but if you look over here, when you start to take into effect, like on robots, there's a 30% reduction in damage and a 10% reduction in damage on Kodachi. The Kodachi came out as a better weapon. In addition to that, you have some additional bonuses here, but then you've got this minus 10 attack. And a minus 10 attack versus a plus 5 attack means you're going to be hitting much more often. And with that, you'll be doing more DPS because you're actually landing these hits, even though per hit you're not doing quite as much. So the Kodachi is really the weapon that I went for that. And I went through the same thing for all the other weapons too. Most of them didn't have a significant upgrade to the things that I have found out as I explored. If you remember, I have found a number of weapons that were like this astonishing oddity at 4.5 on the blunt. I mean, dear God, that thing hits hard. And we've got things like the centipede here in the heavy weapons. These are all very good weapons, which I may need to go back through, just make sure that the people who have the blunt, the hacker class, there's a hacker class, and the polearm class are doing just fine. Ellis, for example, has polearm. So let's take a quick peek, see if he's got an upgrade. What's this? 1.562, I call it 1.77. That's 1.81. 30%, that's 4 and 4. So actually this is probably a slightly better weapon. Blood loss is 1, blood loss is 1. Basically it's the same thing. So I'm actually going to swap him out. We'll put this over here. You'll take that. There's an upgrade. And I still have 2 Kodachis left over here that I'm probably going to sell off. So with that, now we take a look in here. We can see now with the weaponsmithing I've been doing, all the numbers you saw on the spreadsheet are the basic handmade versions. I'm taking all those numbers for comparison reasons, not just to see the highest numbers. I know that if I pick the best basic weapon relative to the other basic handmade weapons, that when I upgrade, I'll still have the best weapon. Okay, so you can see the difference between the guardless katana here, and as I go up, the more damage it has. Hence the reason why I'm trying to increase my tech level so I have better ones. Every time I advance my tech level in research, that's what lowers the number here, and eventually that number will become one of the other versions as well. So that's those. That's the upgrades. We've seen what Red has been doing as he goes back and forth. Red will also come in here and you'll check this thing to see if there's somebody there. There is. This is a masterwork who doesn't yet have a masterworks. Well, Red himself doesn't have a masterwork. Soman is up front here. He's got the masterwork dust coat. He's actually close enough that I don't need to do that. Let's go back in here with Red. Drop that back off. Soman, open that up. Drop in your coat. Grab the new one. Put that on. Here we go. Excellent. And then Red. I have plenty of these, so I can sell this one off. So we'll grab that to sell. So now that we've taken a look at all that, let's do one more thing. Let's talk about Third Eye Trance. You remember that when we went out, you can, at many of the pubs that you go into, you can buy a scroll called Third Eye Trance. That's 1,000,000 credits. We found the Third Eye Trance up here in the Ghost Village. It was sitting in one of the boxes that was the abandoned the abandoned pub. And so we took that, we read it, we learned it. What do you do with it? Well, when you read it, you'll get after about an hour or so, you'll get in interior here, you'll get idle stances. Much of these are just role-playing things where you get to sit there and watch somebody bow or do other things, maybe stand there with the Arnold Schwarzenegger pose or something like that. Some of these are even not safe for work stuff. But what we're looking at is the gym. If you look at the gym, when you put those things down, let's say I want to take let's see, grab this, rotate it a little bit like that. It's not going to show you where I'm at. Actually, let's get back out of this, go back in. Because I've actually put a number of these down and used to highlight them. No? Okay. Arnold is just a straight old pose. Third Eye Trance. This one, I believe, is the healing of 10 times, which is basically a bed, or a little bit better than a bed. Meditated heal is ×4. It's kind of like having a sleeping bag. And not only can you put these inside, but you can also put these, if we get all the way out here, you can put them outside. And if you look at the material cost, it's nothing. So this actually can help to replace, and I don't know if that's going to make a base. If it makes a base, I won't be able to use it because I have a self-imposed rule in this playthrough that I'm not going to establish a base anywhere. I can only buy buildings and stuff, but I can't have anything that shows up on the map. But you can see I have a number of these out here, and so I've got the heals, the Third Eye Trance up there. Sensei's Dojo allows you to train martial arts up to level 35, I believe. So we've got Beep and Ellis out there training up to 35. We've got the bicep flex, tricep flex are both just positions. Jumping jacks will train you up, and I need to look at my little notes here. Do I still have it? I do. The jumping jacks will train up to dodge 20. So that's basically the mat, but the mat would take up 9 of these. So this is far more economical in space. The knee highs will give you training up to athletics 30. The meditative enlightenment will give you a research thing. I'll show you that in a second. The push-ups will give you training of strength 30. So you get up to strength of 30 if you sit on those. There's the level training max of 30. You can see that there. Sit-ups will give you level 25 in Dex. And then you're back to the Arnold. The Arnold being just a pose. So when you get those, you'll see that these people up here, for example, he's training. Beep are you done? No, he's training again. So we're putting these guys in on a martial arts training right now. So you can see that Beep is up to 21, for example. And I'll stick them through some of these. I'm thinking what I'll do is before I leave, I'll cycle everybody through these levels to bring up their stats up to at least 25 to make that worthwhile for me. The cost of no materials and the fact that you can place it out in the wild gives a big advantage to when you recruit a new character. You can start cycling them through those particular mats because you throw them down at any time, just start training. Heck, when you're sitting out in the wild and you're doing a recovery on people, trying to get them all back to full, you can take the people who are full and stick them on a mat. The cost for doing that, though, is an upfront cost of 1,000,000 credits. So you have certainly paid for all of the materials you would have made making all the training facility stuff, and you get a little bit more flexibility with it. So I don't feel so bad. I don't feel like it's a game breaker. It's certainly not. You're going to start the game and start whipping those things out. But when you do the Third Eye Trance one where you pick up Enlightenment, you'll get a research artifact here called Enlightenment. I've made 3 of them. I've stuck them in the research bench. I still haven't found out where I'm going to use them yet, but I got them. So, hey, there you go. I've been able to do some research there. So what I'm going to continue to do here is I'm going to continue to take Red, wherever he is. He's over there. The next thing I would do, by the way, is that I was come through here. Let's get in here before they close. Yes. I would stop at each of these other locations, and then I'm going through to see if there's anything I haven't learned yet. And sometimes it takes a little while. Now, the clothing and the armory are probably the ones that take the longest to get through to the point. But you can see I've already got to the point where I know virtually everything. I got 3 things I still need to read over there that I haven't read yet. That's the armory, but this is the clothing. And that's one of the other things I like about Mongrel is that, nope, there, thank you, is that it has all of the different shops. So there's a lot of places where if you go in and look for the shops, they are specialized in 1 or 2 shops. I have clothing, I have armor, I have weapons back here. I know I've got all of that. I've got crossbows here, and I have back down in here, I've got the mechanical guy who has, I think, 1 or 2 different things I can pick up. Plus, you know, there's miscellaneous stuff that pops up in the trader, and there's miscellaneous stuff that pops up in the traveler guy here. Then once I'm done with all of that, I come back out here, and I wait for the next load, which is usually when this thing over here hits about 25. If I hit 25, then my compression backpack gets filled up by the time I'm done. So come back and join me. I'm going to continue to do my routine back and forth like this until I finish off building out my armor and then doing out all the legs. And at that point, then we will be heading back out. And I think now we're going to start looking for some little tougher things to fight. There's a question mark over here, if I remember right. There's this thing here. And I remember that thing being kind of ugly looking. So I'm thinking maybe we're going to go on down there and play with it. I'm going to start pushing in here. I'm going to go to ruins. I need to find more AI cores. I do need to find some more engineering documents. I also want to make my way over to the scribe's place here. Where's the scribe? There it is. There it is. Come down here. Well, one of these is the scribe waypoint. Where is that? There he is. Wait station tech scribes. I'm going to take all my tech notes down to the tech scribes and see what I can do with that. I believe that's where I need to go with those. And so we'll give that a shot. So that's my plans for the future. Come back and join me. Again, take care. Bye-bye.
I'm creeping through the shadows in the corners of your mind. I go where the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a